Welcome to theskyKid.com on YouTube. Today I'm returning to The Reflecting Skin, Philip Ridley's haunting debut, a film I first reviewed back in 2007 for theskyKid.com. In that early review, I called the story unimpressive, and even said the adults acted crazy, like a freak show. I praised the nature shots and young Jeremy Cooper's performance, but completely missed the depth. Back then, I scribbled in my notes, "Nobody behaves like a normal person." Rereading that now feels almost naive. I mistook metaphor for madness. Now, 18 years later, I've watched it again for this channel, and the experience has transformed me completely. What once felt strange now feels profound. A dark rural fairy tale from the imagination of its own creator, Philip Ridley. It's the kind of tale the Brothers Grimm might have written before their stories were softened for children. Childhood innocence shatters into quiet horror, and the film's beauty slowly reveals itself as a mask for decay. The film opens with a long shot. Tiny Seth, played by Jeremy Cooper, walking through vast wheat fields. His smallness against the horizon sets the tone, vulnerability from the very start. Ridley's cinematography gives daylight a bruised blue tint, making it feel haunted, while the hypersaturated fields promise a fragile pastoral innocence. The production design tells its own story. A sofa left outside, teal boards flaking in the wind, candles flickering behind dusty windows. Every detail feels lived in, quietly symbolic, and just slightly wrong, as if beauty itself has started to crumble. One image stands out. Seth sits centered on a chair, a shark's jaw gaping above him, half halo, half devourer. He's saint and prey at once. Later, a neighbor's house is framed like a predator's lair, domesticity turning gothic through Seth's fearful eyes. The shallow focus pulls us into his contemplative gaze. The static patient shots carry the stillness of a western before a storm. The only real flaw comes past the 1-hour mark, when the pace slows. It mirrors Seth's emotional unraveling, testing patience perhaps, but once the tension returns, it strikes harder than before. Jeremy Cooper embodies Seth with remarkable honesty, expressive, luminous, unguarded. His reactions make ordinary sights feel supernatural, the way children experience the world. The eyes carry it, wide, glossy, with steady catchlights that make him seem lit from within. A slight lift of the brows, parted lips, a relaxed jaw, curiosity shading into awe, not fear. You can almost see thought flicker across his face, each emotion arriving unannounced and unforced. Ridley's direction trusts him completely. No exaggeration, no false notes, just raw instinct. Some moments are quietly disturbing. Eye-level camera angles during the boys' encounters with adults make them intimate and suffocating. The emotional dread builds quietly but relentlessly. You sense tragedy coming, yet you can't look away. At its core, the film explores innocence corroded by fear and misunderstanding. Beauty lures, wonder conceals danger. The reflecting skin becomes a literal surface that gleams overwrought. Through Seth, the ordinary world takes on a supernatural charge. Loss of innocence isn't sudden, it's gradual, inevitable. Howard Blake's haunting score deepens the effect, music for a rural fairy tale that was never meant to comfort. And that final image, it lingers, sealing the film's vision of trauma as a rite of passage. Back in 2007, I saw madness, where now I see grief. Since then, life has handed me losses of my own, some as profound as those Seth endures. And after hundreds of coming-of-age films, I understand these characters differently. They aren't crazy, they're broken, trapped, painfully human. The horror was never about monsters from myths, but the kind that walk on two legs and smile like anyone else. The reflecting skin is unsettling, poetic, and visually breathtaking, a meditation on innocence, fear, and beauty's deceptive glow. If you've followed theskyKid.com and skimmed through some of the other reviews I've done, you'll know I lean toward films that push coming of age beyond nostalgia, into something darker and more real. This is essential viewing for that reason. The Reflecting Skin isn't just a film you watch, it's one you grow into. 18 years ago, I saw confusion. Now I see the fragile architecture of innocence and loss. Ridley's vision hasn't changed. I have. See it on the biggest screen you can, because every frame breathes and bleeds. But what stays isn't the image. It's the feeling, the quiet ache that lingers after. 10 out of 10 for a story that reminds us that growing up never really ends. Thanks for watching theskykid.com on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and tell me, has time ever rewritten a film for you too?